Welcome to Time by the Tent, and the video here you're about to see is how I and my wife built our deer hanger at our permanent campsite. This is not a how-to, this is a how we did it. For a deer hanger, back home I had one that had three. I made it out of 4x4s, and it would hang 3 deer on it. And at one point with all the guys hunting, we had 3 on the hanger and 2 on the ground. So I want to include that into the property here, because last year I actually had 2 deer during gun season within 24 hours. And if it's mild enough, I would butcher it out up here instead of taking it and doing it. It's much easier to hang and skin it out and quarter it up when it's hanging rather than laying down. So I think in this area could be a potentially good location somewhere in here. I'll have to do a little more investigating and then landscaping it. I would need 2 main posts, 13 foot long, or trees, 3 foot in the ground and 10 above, and then 1 10 foot across. Okay, so I decided for the deer hanger to be in this area here. You see the picnic table there. And I was thinking about putting it over here on the left-hand side of the archery lane, but I just didn't like it there. And being right there, right here, you've got the picnic table there, you got the campfire behind you, and then you've got the tent right there, so you can still see it. I mean, even if it was back over there, you'd still have limitations on viewing it if there were harvested deer on it. But this also, I can come in here and I can landscape all of that. Next step is to take the rake and clean all this debris out from the trail I made a couple of weeks ago. All of this area here, and then take the shovel and start leveling it off like I did with this little area here where we did for the dining area for the picnic table. Okay, so I cut the grass and the thorns and cleaned the debris out. As you can see, there is some ebbs and flows here. Not terrible. Like there's a little low spot there, there's a high spot there, but when you look at it like this here, this is all level, all where my hand is above, level all through here and up around the tent and the common area or the daily use area. So here, let's see if we go up, go down a little bit, go up, and it levels out right back in there. There's the 20-yard marker there. So my thought is I'm only going to be utilizing this area, and I could come in here tonight, tomorrow, next week, and take all of that top 6 inches off over here and get it down to level grade like this here and spend 2 hours doing all of that for literally, on the best case scenario, 2 to 3 hours of use a year if I get a deer or multiple ones. And if that's the case, then the deer is hung and I can skin it out and then butcher it out. Even with this being a little uneven, wherever I get my post and get the framework up, I can go around like a foot. Like say, yeah, there's a post, there's a post. I can go a foot on each side, just enough to where I'd have level footing if I'm going to stand there for a long period of time. I'm going to make it 9 foot out of the ground. So I want to go 3 foot in the ground or close to it. So I'll need two 12-foot posts and then 9 foot across, which will give me a position to hang 2 deer at one time, which I have harvested 2 in a course of 24 hours. So I could get 3 out of the deer hanger, but 2 is going to be adequate. And I'm just going to go down here to where we got the trees at, like I talked about last episode, and I've got 2 marked there, and I'm just going to drop them and see how they look, and if they're good, I'll start chopping them to the specific lengths and carrying them up and debarking them. Okay, fell that way, which was fine. It would have been better if it fell right here, but looking at the base, it's a very solid piece of pine, which what I would normally use if I didn't have a lumber yard here, which would be go to a lumber yard and get 4x4s, which for what I would need would be $20 a piece. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and go about 12 foot, a little bit longer, just so I have the excess and I can always cut it off up there and square the ends off, and then get that piece up there, and then see what another 12 feet looks like, or I'll drop another tree and then utilize the rest of it for firewood. And I didn't come up like waist high like some people would and then leave a stump there, because that's like 2 foot of wood that I really would rather have as a post than, I utilize all the tree. I mean, I could come back and cut that as a piece of firewood, but utilizing as much of the tree as possible is really best whenever I'm trying to maximize production and value of what I'm doing. Okay, so that one there will be for the 9 foot across the top. This one is about 5 inches in diameter on this end, and about 6.5, 7 on that end. That one was the base of the tree. That was closest to the ground. And that one's almost 8 inches in diameter. Well, here, let's go to the base here. I'll get you an accurate measurement. Yeah, solid 8 inches there. This one here, about 7. Once you get that knot out of there, you're looking at about 7.25. So, top piece light enough I could deal with. That post there, once I could get it up and debark it and get the limbs off and square it up, would be easy to get in the ground. This one here is too much for me to handle. I did drag it all that way because we don't have tractor, four-wheeler, anything like that. That is a beast of a log, and that is where it's going to stay. But I am not going to drag that up and use that for the deer hanger. So my next move is going to be, what was it? Yeah, that tree right there, I'm going to drop and then go 12 feet up, or give or take a few feet, and kind of cut the middle portion out where it's about 4 to 6 inches in diameter. And that will be the other side. Because this is a deer hanger, not a corner post of a house, or a corner post trying to keep cattle in a fence, or something like that. So that post was past my limitations. That big one, so I'm going to cut this other one down, and then I do have the top piece here I can take up and turn into firewood, camp firewood, because that burns really good, them top pieces. So that is the plan here. Then also, once I get this deer hanger up, I want to put a ladder out of logs on the back side so I can get up to it and run, get the pulley system up on that top brace in order to pull the deers up and hook them into the eye bolts. So that'll be a later project. Much easier to manage. So here's what I'm doing. I've got 2 of the 3 drug up. You saw the other one. I've got that over there by the fire. I've already knocked all the limbs off of it. I'm going to knock all the limbs off of this one. Then cut it down to size and then debark it. And I'll get the other one up as well. In between rain showers here, I could have took all the limbs off down there, but it's just a much cleaner working area up here, and I can throw them in the fire and not just throw them in the woods and be done with it. So slower process than I thought, but it's it'll look good once it's done. So now those are the 3 in which the 2 outside ones are the post, and the center one is going to be where it hangs, the deer hangs from with the eye bolts. So now I'm taking and squaring one end up as best I can because it's not conventional lumber and I'm using a chainsaw, measuring off 12 foot on those, and then cutting it square. Still got to do this one, that one, whatever the length is. It doesn't matter. I am going to notch the bottom. You'll see whenever I do that in order to set better onto the post. I'm not going to notch it by much because I don't want to take a lot of the material out and weaken it. I just want enough to where it will sit flat on the post itself. And once I get them debarked, I will put them over there and construct them and get the holes dug and then figure out how to get it vertical. Deal. Okay, so here's where we're at. These are the posts. That is the cross beam that the anchor or the eye hooks go in and the deer hangs off of. I don't want to spend an hour and a half whittling away and getting all the bark off of this, when it may go in the ground and be good for 5 years, and in 5 years we'll just put new ones in the ground. I did do that one because I want that one to be as strong as possible, and I believe if you take the bark off it will last longer, won't rot as quick. So then with this, I have taken and notched part of the board to correspond with the top of this board, so when we put them together they'll be at least somewhat flush and it won't be round on flat. I had purchased 12-inch stakes because I had thought that I was going to be dealing with much larger diameter wood, and you saw down there how heavy that was, and that wasn't going to work. So instead of putting a 12-inch stake, which would be insane, I'm going to use 6-inch, and that will get me enough bite into that good enough that it will work. If for some reason I need to use this, I have that to the availability, but I don't think I will. So I'm going to take everything over where we're going to put it up at and start constructing it. And then once I get it constructed on the ground, I will then dig my holes so I know I have the holes in the right spot. I'll go down as deep as I can. I'm planning to go 36 inches. If I can't go 36 inches, then I will cut probably, you know, I'll go down, let's say 30 inches. I'll cut 6 inches off of both these posts, so I still get about a 9 foot from ground to top board, and it'll make these boards a little lighter to us tipping it up. So that is the current plan of attack. So this is the hardware. These are eye bolts. One's got a washer, and then I did a DIY deal with two to kind of form a little washer there. This has a working load of 300 pounds, and that's what you want to look for whenever you're doing something like this, is that working load, or that weight load capacity. So 300, that'll be more than adequate. I had some that was 280, 230. I wanted to be 300 and be sure the job would be sufficient here. So now I need to first find the difference with this top board, and then drill the holes, put these in, and then nail the top board to the post, and that'll be the stopping point. And then tomorrow I can dig 2 holes and then lift it up, get it seated in the ground, and then I can work on building a ladder in the weeks to come in order to get to the top of it. That'll be an easy deal, because I don't have to have very large diameter trees for the rungs or the side rails. So that is, you can do this in any way. Some people would just take a rope and wrap around the top. I wanted to have something in which I can either do with a leg spreader or a game spreader for the back legs. I can either run a rope through here, or I'll have a pulley system where I can hoist the deer up and then take a carabiner with a weight capacity of over 300, latch into here and hang it for one, and then I can hang the other one for the same deal, and then I can butcher them out here if the weather is adequate, or at least just get them hung up, or one hung up while I go hunt with the other, you know, that type of thing. So okay, so everything is put together for tonight. That'll be all I do on this. And tomorrow I will get the measurement of the top, which is not, well, I'll confirm it again, but it's like 9.4. And then find where I want the one hole there is, dig that hole, and then come over 9.4 and dig the other hole as deep as I can. I don't know how much competition I will have with Roots, not the musical band, but the ones on the ground, to get this situated. And then Holly and I will try to lift it up and place it directly in the hole without like letting it fall 36 inches and potentially tearing up the nails and the nail and the connections up there. So and I'm happy that they're not all 8-inch diameter logs, and that would have been a whole deal in itself. So that worked well. And again, it looks fine with the bark removed from the top and not on the legs. I'm okay with that for this project. I know my measurements is like 9 foot 4 inches. That's what the top is. That's what the bottom needs to be on the outer edge. So I'm just going to find an area back here where I want to put one post, kind of level that area out a little bit, and then go ahead and use post hole digger and dig as deep as I can. And then based on that, I might have to cut a little bit off the bottom because I don't need it to be 11 foot in the air if I only can get 2 foot in the ground. But if I can get 30 inches, I cut 6 inches off just so I can have still 9 foot of elevation. I'm going to use post hole digger, hand post hole digger, and that's how it's going to go. Okay, so I've got the hole diameter about 1 inch bigger than the actual tree, and about 35 inches down. That's going to be good enough. If I do any more maneuvering, it's going to take it off a little bit. It's just a wet sand is what I'm dealing with. I mean, it's just like I'm digging on the beach. That's what's down 30, 20, about 15 to 30 inches, 36 inches, just that sand and rock. There's just a 2 or 3 inches, I would say, of like really good topsoil right here. So easy digging. I just got to maneuver through the rocks. So now I'm going to take this, line it up with this, and then I'll know where to dig the other hole at in order to get this square, so I can make one move, Holly. I can make one move and drop it right in the ground gently, and then we'll pack it in. Now get underneath it. There you go. Yours is going in. Oh, it is. Okay.
What are we doing?
Walking it up.
I'm stuck.
Okay, you're gonna have to do. I cannot let this down.
Okay, hold on.
All right.
Hold on.
There you go. And you're just gonna walk it. It's gonna slide right in the hole. Ready?
I guess.
Go. Everything you got.
I'm trying, Joey. I just need a sec. I'm trying.
Okay, go on that side, because that side is almost in the hole. Gonna lean into your shoulder. Ready?
Yeah.
Up.
Okay.
There you go. Keep going.
Oh my gosh.
There we go.
Are we supposed to go that much?
Yeah. It's gonna go.
Oh,
There we go.
we good? First team.
Alright, now we just gotta get level and pack it in. Alright, so the deer hanger is up. I have packed soil around. This hole was bigger than what it needed to be, but I wanted to make sure that, because I just wanted to make sure that it went in and we didn't have to pull it back out because it only went partially in because it wasn't wide enough. So this is not true to any direction, but it does look, I mean, it is straight with itself. So I will continue to pack soil around that in the weeks to come. And then in the area surrounding it, like through the center and then a little in the back, kind of like a football shape around it, I will level that off so it can be, more easily walked whenever you're processing a deer. The next step is to go down to the lumber yard again there in the woods and find 2 smaller diameter trees. I'm talking 3 to 4 inches at max. Probably 2 would be fine. And I'm going to make a ladder that will go back there. Won't stay up all year round, but I can lay it down and bring it up in order to get the pulley system up there, and then also to, when the deer is hanging, to hook the carabiner to the eye hook with the leg spreader, the big game hanger. So then I can process it or photograph or just get it off the ground if I'm going to go hunt for more. Going to hunt like for archery or whatever the case is. So this has worked out very, very well. What I intended. The only thing is we didn't debark the legs. I'm okay with that. Not a big deal on that. So that tree there is what I'm wanting to take down, because that should be diameter enough for the one rung of the ladder. They're not going to be the same diameter, but for what little use this ladder is going to receive, it doesn't have to be precise, because I can make it work. And then some of that can be rung material as well. Okay, got it up here. Just wants to fight you every pull and twist. So top portion going to be used for firewood, like the very tiny stuff. So I'll come up 12 foot. I'll measure that other one. I think it's 12.3. Clean it up. Now this has got a bend in it, which, again, for what little bit this is going to be used for, it'll be perfectly sufficient. And then I'll make it, I think, about 12 inches wide. And I've made many of these type of ladders for permanent tree stands back home. Just knock down 2 trees and start hammering away. So significantly smaller in diameter, I think probably about 2 inches in that one, but we're going to make it work. There is the completed ladder. I didn't need to do the rungs at the top, because when I stand on the top rung, I'm already exceeding the top of the deer hanger. So it saved me 6 nails and 6 boards, or 6 rungs. So very pleased with this. This side here is got a little arch in it. That's why it looks a little optical illusionic. You can see the bend there. That's okay. I'm fine with that. This ladder is going to be used maybe 3 to 8 minutes a year, based on how many deer I'm able to harvest. Go up there, string the pulley system up, come down, pull it up, hook it up with the carabiner that will be with the deer, with the big game hanger, and it is complete.